All right, if you would please just get into IntelliJ, and we're going to start up a new project right away. See what we can get done today. By the end of this week, we will be done with the Java part of the class, and I will have given you the test. At a minimum, you're going to get Friday to work on it the entire period. And we'll see if we get done earlier with the other stuff that I want to go through. All right. But the plan is that when you come back on Tuesday, the 19th, remember there's no class next Monday for Martin Luther King Day. So next Tuesday, when you come back, the 19th, we're going to be starting on Unit 1 of that PDF that I gave you for Android. We're going to start building Android. All right. So I'm going to do a new project. Next. We're just going to call this Java Arrays. One big word, run together Java and arrays, just like that. Okay. And as always, come in here, do the new package right away. And we will end up making two classes. First, we're going to just call this Java Array Driver. So that'll be your first Java class. It's going to be very short, literally about 4 or 5 lines. And here's where we're going to actually create, we're actually going to create or instantiate it here. So let's do our PSVM tab, and then just one line. And we're going to say Java array, just call it JA, equals new Java array. Now, we have not yet created that file. That's why we're getting the error, okay? That error will be fixed in just a couple minutes. Be a bit of typing in this one. And when we get done, we're going to actually do the BMI thing, but we're going to do a bunch of it together just so I can introduce other stuff to you. All right, both have this? Okay. So let's create another class. So again, right mouse click on your com.example, new Java class, and this will just be Java array. And you may or may not notice, as soon as you do that, boom, that one is now gone. That error is gone. All right. So I'm not going to put in a lot of comments. In fact, I'm not going to put really much of anything in here. I'm going to import 3 things right away. Java.util.arrays, Java.util.random, and Java x.swing.jOptionPane. All right. So this is going to be very similar. I think we did this program in C#, where we're going to have a very simple little menu, and you're going to generate an array of 25 numbers, and we'll get the biggest number, the smallest number, etc. You with me? Just again, so you can see some of the similarities, etc. here between this and the other languages. So I'm going to start with a static final int, and I'm just going to call it max. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to set it equal to 25. That's going to be my array constant. Int bracket, we'll call this num original equal new int 25, and then int bracket num copy. That's also going to be equal to new int 25. Oops, yep, that was right. we're going to say int min value, whoops, like that, min value equals, now our array is going to be numbers between 0 and 100, or I'm sorry, between 1 and 100. You with me? So I'm going to make the minimum value 101 on purpose. That way, as soon as I put any value in there, it's got to be less than 101. That becomes my new minimum. I'm going to make my maximum 0. Do you see what I'm saying here? All right. So the min value, again, will be equal to 101. And int max value, I'm just going to set it equal to, again, to 0. All right. I'm going to have an int. We'll call it sum, which will also be equal to 0. Double average, which will be equal to 0.0. And I think that's about everything we need. All right. We are going to be working with random numbers in here, and very similar to what you do in C#, we're going to say random rand equals new random. That is, again, that is instantiating an instance of the random class. All right, so in just a couple minutes, we're going to be putting the code in there to create our 25 random numbers. All right, so I'm going to put in here a no arg constructor. I think this is probably the only constructor we have in here. So public Java array, array. I want to put this is one thing I want you to understand, okay? I want to keep showing the menu forever. And if you enter, it's a 0 or whatever, then the program will quit. But literally, I want this to be in an infinite loop, all right? Now, don't type this in, because I could type in something like this. While 1 equal 1. That would work, because 1's always equal to 1, right? But I'm just going to put it into an infinite for loop. We may or may not have ever even done this, but I'm going to say for semicolon, semicolon. That is an infinite loop. That basically says forever, because I'm not doing any initialization, I'm not doing any testing, and I'm not doing any changing. All right, so I'm going to call show menu. Should make sense to you that that's an error because we have not written show menu yet. Make sense? All right, we're going to write show menu right now. Let's see, that goes with, let's see, that goes here, yep, down here. So, public void show menu, you're going to notice immediately that error is going to go away. There, it's gone already. All right, I'm going to hit enter just a couple times here just so I can make some room so you can see as I'm typing. String, we'll call it menu select, and that's going to be equal right now to nothing. Int choice equals 0, and string, string, I'll just call it output, doesn't really matter. That's going to be equal to the empty string. Now, when you look at this, menu select, we're going to say there, enter a 0 to do this, enter a 1 to do this, enter a 2 to do this. You with me? All right. Then remember, whatever you enter is automatically going to be a string, correct? And so that's what's going to go into menu select. Choice will be our attempt to go in there and take that value. All right, we will take that value and we will convert it to a number. All right. Now, I've got this written and stuff, but I'm going to be changing it as I go because I want to show you actually putting in some try-catch stuff. All right. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say this: try. Now this is going to look a little goofy for a second because I'm going to copy that like about almost 10 times. It's not going to be in there every time. I'm going to change these accordingly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 8 of them. 7, 8. So I'll get rid of this bottom one. All right, so try enter 0 to exit. Enter a 1 to generate a, generate a new 25 member int array. Yeah, reverse that. Let's see if I missed any. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's just going to be 0 to 8. Sorry. All right. All right. One thing I forgot to do, look on the screen, please. Sorry. Put a \n before all these. Otherwise, it's going to be really ugly. Sorry about that. It's better. Oops. I'm going to put the code in here, then I'll explain it, okay? This is going to give me an error also because we didn't write this yet. All right, let me know when you got all this done. Internet choice. Why does that give me an error? Oh, you don't put it there. Okay. Again, we're getting an error right now because the next routine we're going to write is call correct menu choice. As soon as we write that, that error will go away. Okay. Now look what we're doing in here, if you would, because we're not done with this routine. It'll come in here and it'll call show menu. So it should come up on the screen with all this stuff. Enter a 0 to do this, enter a 1 to do that, etc. Enter a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 now. Okay. Then it's going to give you the chance to do it. One of three things is going to happen when you do this. Either A, you're going to enter a number between 0 and 8. Then you're going to go down there and do this. Good. That's a good. B, you're going to enter a number, but it's going to be out of range. So you're going to enter a negative number, or you're going to enter a number greater than 8. Does that make sense? Or C, you're going to enter something non-numeric. Does that make sense? This is going to handle you entering a number that's out of range. Does that make sense to you? So it's a number, but it's not in range. So I'm just calling the function or the method all over again. See what I'm saying? There's different ways we could handle this. But the other one is if we get down to here and we hit the catch, and I'm going to catch in here a number format exception. I'm going to call it NFE for number format exception. If we hit this, we put something non-numeric in. Does that make sense? So again, we could handle this any way we want to handle it. We could give it a default value. Okay, would you agree? We could do whatever we want. All right. I'm not even sure the best way to handle that right here. And I'm not sure. I think this is going to work, but I'm going to try calling show menu from here too. I don't know if it's going to take this or not. I never tried doing it like this, but I'm rewriting the program in my head as I'm going over it with you. So I'm like I said, it may not work. What we can do if we want to, what we can do here is we can say we can either do a system.out.println, or we can do here a J option pane dot show message dialog, and we put in here null, and then I'm going to put in here NFE dot get message. That will show the user what the error was. Does that make sense? Okay. And as soon as you close that, it should call the function all over again. Does all that make sense to both of you? Again, there's a lot of different ways we could do this. I'm just, like I said, otherwise I bore myself. So what I'm doing is I'm just coming up with a different way of doing it. Just, all right, and trying different things too. All right, so now we're down here. If we get down this far, now we want to call correct method. So this is going to be public. This is going to be a void. It's not going to return anything. Int, I'm just going to call it ch. Too lazy to type in choice, so we'll just put in there ch. And this, just so you've seen it now, in this, we're going to put in a switch. Just to show you that switches in here work exactly the same way that they work in C#. All right? So, if it's a 0, please look up on the screen here. This is what we have to account for, okay? exiting the program, generating, I'm not going to read those, but you see them all, right? Now, if somebody puts in a 0, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a message on the screen. I'm going to do a J option pane that says program exiting normally, because I'm assuming that you pressed a 0 and that's what you wanted to do. Now, we could ask them, are you sure you want it? I'm not going to even do that. I'm just going to assume that if you did that, that's what you meant to do. All right. So if it's a 0, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to change it. System.exit. 0 is typically a good, it literally means we're done. So I'm going to put in here program. In fact, I'll put it on a new line so so you can see it. Program exiting normally. All right. So again, that'll handle them putting in a 0. Now, I don't really need a break here because it'll never get hit, but I'm putting a break in there anyway. Did you both hear what I said? Technically, it's never going to get hit. You already did a system.exit, but I don't think it doesn't look like it's going to even give me an error or a warning. So that's okay. All right, case 1. Now, I changed the order around in here. So this is generating a new 25-member array. All right. So let's see. Now, if you look on the screen, whether I'm doing either one of these, I'm either giving you a brand new array or I'm giving you the array in original order. Does that make sense? So technically, I'm doing the same thing with both. So I'm looking on here. The first time I wrote this, I just duplicated the code. Oh, now I know why I did it. We have to do something first. We have to create the array. So let's call it create new array. You're going to get a bunch of errors in here because we're going to be calling all sorts of methods that aren't created yet. Now we're going to call display array. And what did I call? I don't know what I call these arrays. So I call them num original and num copy. Okay. Num original. And we're going to use the word original. You'll understand why I'm doing it like this in a bit. Oops, that was not good. And we'll break. Case 1 or 2. You both know now, right? If you don't want all that red in there, just comment those lines out. All right, it doesn't bother me at all. I know that the errors are in there, etc. We're gonna fix it. So here I'm just gonna call display array and break. All right, because that's all I want to do is display the original array if that's the case. Now again, I want to just double check. So if it's a 2, display an original. 3 is ascending, 4 is descending. Okay. So 3. And I'm going to call here display array ascending. I don't like that. Let's call it sort ascending. Sorry. We'll call it sort ascending. And then we'll call display array but we don't want the original, we want the copy. And we want this to say ascending. Then this next one's going to look the same, but it's going to be descending. And let's stop right there so you get a chance to catch up and we can talk about what we've done so far. Okay? You both caught up? All right. This display thing, when we display it, we're going to let it know here which one. how we're displaying the array. We're displaying it in original order, we're displaying it in ascending order, we're displaying it in descending order. Does that make sense? Now, when we create a new array, we can use the original one. When we display the array, we want this is displaying the original array. All right. This is displaying the array in ascending order. So we've changed it, right? Num copy is going to be a copy of the array. So we can do whatever we want with that. Num original, we're never going to change. Once we've given those 25 numbers, we're not changing them. So that's the copy in ascending order. That's the copy in descending order. Make sense? All right. Then we need to do, I think next we're smallest and largest. Yep, smallest, largest, sum average. All right. And of course, that'll be a 5, otherwise we'll get an error. So we've now handled, if you look up on the screen here, we've now handled all of those. Make sense? All right, so the only other two we have to do. Now, I want you to understand something, and after I say it, you'll probably be like, well, duh, and that's fine. But what I want to do next is I've got the sum left and the average, okay? I have no guarantee when the user does this if they're going to actually click the button to do the sum before they do the average. Would you agree? But let's say they don't. So I want to do the sum, right? So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to call the sum both times. But one time I'm going to have the same routine handle both of these. But with one of them, it's going to be handling it for the sum. For the other one, it's going to be handling it for the average. Rather than duplicating a bunch of code, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to have it here, case 6. And I want to see, did I forget something? I'm looking. Because we had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm only going to have 8 the way I'm doing this. So did I forget something? That's what I'm looking for. Create new array. That's generated an array. Well, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My numbers are screwed up here. That's a 4 out of 43. So that'll be a 5. That'll be a 6. And then I'll have 7 and 8. That was it. I screwed up my numbers. All right. So this is 7. And if that's the case, we're going to display sum of elements. And I'm going to put the word true in there. So again, don't worry about it. We'll fix that just a bit and break. And case 9, we're going to call display average. AVG, I'm just going to put of elements. And we'll pass in false. And we'll break. Oops. Now, by this time, they should have entered something in. They should have entered a number, and it should be one of these numbers. You with me? They should have. But it's always good, just in case they didn't. So I'm going to put a default in here. Oops. Default. And if they don't, I'm just going to call show menu again. And I'll show them the menu. All right. So if I ran it now, of course, I'd get a lot of errors because these haven't been written yet. But do you understand the logic thus far? Questions on anything? All right, then let's start writing these. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new array. Okay, I'm not even talking about showing it. I'm just going to create a new array. So it's not going to return anything. Okay, so a public void create new array. It's not having anything passed in. And again, it won't return anything. All right. 4. Int LCV equals 0. LCV less than or num less than num original dot length. And I think that's a little L. It's probably why I'm getting the error. No. Yes. Plus plus LCV. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and what I'm about to tell you, you might say, I don't care. And I get that. But I actually got asked a question similar to what I'm going to tell you right now when I went in for a programming position, when I was at an interview. All right. Somebody asked me the equivalent of, if you have a statement like this, should you put the plus plus LCV first or the LCV plus plus, and why? And I said it doesn't matter, which is wrong. It will actually run faster the way I'm showing it to you. It's just because of the way it breaks down the two statements. It breaks down plus plus LCV faster than it does the LCV plus plus. When you put plus plus LCV, it immediately adds 1 to it. When you do the LCV plus plus, it's got to get its current value, then add 1 to it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. All right, but you never know. I mean, you sometimes get asked weird stuff when you're interviewing. All right, so I'm trying to show you what I consider to be the best way for you to write this. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to basically randomly generate num original array elements. Okay, so num original LCV equal rand dot next. We're going to go over all this in just a minute. Dot next int 100 plus 1 num copy LCV equal num original LCV. There's just a couple more lines and then we'll go over all of it. In fact, that's it. That's the whole routine. So go ahead and put that in and we're going to talk about it in just a second. Got it? Got it? Okay. I could put a comment in here. You can. You don't have to. All the comment would say is copy the current array element to this one. So we could put one in. This is a way of creating random numbers. This will create a random number, forgetting about the plus 1. This right here will create a random number between 0 and 99. I don't want that. If I wanted 0 in there, and I wanted it to go from 0 to 100, for example, I could have put rand.nextInt, and I could have put 101 in there. Does that make sense? I don't want 0. I want these all to be positive numbers. So what I'm doing by adding 1 is it's going to, if it gives me 0, it'll become 1. But with 100 in there, the biggest number I can get is 99. So if it gets 99, it'll give me 100. Does that make sense to both of you? Again, this is not the only way of doing it. I'm just showing you a way of doing it. That's all. So that's creating the new array. Public void. Now we're going to display it. Display array. We're passing in an integer array. So if you look up on the screen, you say int bracket bracket. That means you are passing in an array of integers. All right. And you got to give it a name. A for array should be fine. And we're going to have a string. It's going to be S. You might say, what the heck is that? Remember at the beginning I said you're going to print in the word original or the word ascending or whatever. That's that word. Okay? All right. So string, again we'll call it output, equals the array in, what do we call the string? S. Oops. Order. So that's going to say either, all right, that's either going to say the array in ascending order, the array in descending order, etc. Make sense? All right. Let's see, order. I'll put a \n in there so it'll look nice. And then I'm going to steal this. I'm going to change it, but I want to write a for loop, so that's why I'm grabbing it. So less than that. I don't want to do any of that. We'll just say output str plus equals the name of the array. Oh, we called it output, not output str, sorry. Output plus equals the array, which is called a. LCV. We'll just put a blank space in there afterwards. Okay. And again, you're going to see this when we start running it in just a minute. And that's going to put everything into that output string. So that's going to have all 25 numbers. Okay, we could have put commas after them and then not put a comma after the last one. There's a bunch of ways we could have done this. I'm just trying to, it may not seem like it, but I'm trying to do this as simply as possible. So J option pane dot show message dialog null output. Okay. Now, you're caught up, Keegan? Are you just about? Just okay, that's fine. We're going to do this one a little differently rather than me giving you, because we probably got, I don't know, maybe 50 or so or more lines left, okay? But so instead, we're actually going to try to do this the right way. And what I mean is this. The only one that's going to work is 0, 1, and 2 are going to work right now, okay? So for right now, I'm going to comment this out. You don't have to do this. I'm going to comment all these out. Oops. Again, I will uncomment them in a minute. All right. Why? Because I just want to see if it works right now. That's all. So I'm going to run this. You know, and I've told you this before. You've heard this junk from me before, and that is you shouldn't write 300 lines of code and then start testing, which is what we'd be doing otherwise. We've already written probably a good 100 or more lines. So I'm going to run this. See if it comes up. There it is. Now that's pretty ugly. See that? But, you know, it should be functional. So right now the 0 should work. Program exiting normally. That's good. I don't know with the 1 that the 1 should work to generate the new numbers. Okay, so there it is. There's our numbers. Now, we could have done each one on a new line. And if that's better for you, then where I put a blank space, just put a \n if you'd rather have that. So that works. Well, we can now still see if we can display it again in original order, and that works. So what? 45, 60, 30, etc. So all that works. All right. Now, we haven't done the ascending order yet or the descending, so none of these are going to do anything. Does that make sense to you? But the point is, we looked at some of it now, and it appears to be working correctly. I think you both, by now, you're both experienced enough that it makes sense to you why you should write code and test, write some more code and test, as opposed to writing a boatload of code. All right. When you are doing your test that I'll give you in a couple days, one problem is pretty long. The other ones are all short. So when you do that problem, I would recommend doing it the same way. Write a little bit of code and test it. Write a little bit more code and test it. All right. And it's, I don't know, have you ever heard of the FizzBuzz program? You ever heard of that? Have you, Keegan? Okay, I'll just tell you real quick, because this is what you're going to end up doing. You're going to look at every number between 1 and 100. Okay? I'm going to let you cheat a little bit. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 are prime numbers. I'm not asking you that, I'm telling you. You know what a prime number is, correct? Okay. Any number that's even, like 4 that doesn't go into 3 or doesn't go into 5, you just write the number down. Any number that's divisible by the number 5, you write the word buzz. Any number that's divisible by 3, like 6, you write fizz. 7 is prime. 8 is just a number. 9 is divisible by, see where I'm going here? You'll have instructions. You will have instructions. But the point is, you're going to go through from 1 to 100. So what does that mean? You'll have to check for prime. You'll have to check if it's divisible by 3. And you have to check if it's divisible by 5. That makes sense? And then you get down, so let's say that I'm down to 15. 15 is divisible by both 3 and 5. You know that. So there you actually write fizz buzz. You write them both. That's the hardest problem on your test. Okay? Just so you know, that's the hardest one. If you even want to start thinking about that or how you'd attack that or whatever, fine. Otherwise, like I said, you'll get it probably on Wednesday. We'll see. Either be Wednesday or Thursday. And again, at a minimum, you will have all period Friday to work on it. All right? Okay, so, all right, we're down to here. Let me take this and move that down. All righty. So we just wrote display array. Now, I think, again, you both get this. Sort numbers ascending and sort numbers descending are almost going to be identical. You understand that? All right. So we'll do a sort ascending first, and the nice news is it's literally about 3 lines long. Private, void, what do we call that? I don't remember. Oh, you'll notice I commented it out. That's why we called it sort ascending. So I can comment mine out right now. So private void sort ascending. Nothing is getting passed in. The whole routine. The name of the array, which is num copy dot sort. Oh, it's not. I'm sorry. You've got to use. Remember this thing that we put in here at the beginning. This thing. Java.util.arrays. Well, arrays. So sticky on the computer. Arrays has got a nice method called sort. And all we have to do in there is tell it what we want it to sort. Well, we want it to sort our copy array. Remember, that's the one that we're making changes to. Okay? That's the whole routine. Now, don't type this in, but I want to show you something. Don't type this line in. I'm going to type in arrays dot sort again. Okay, I'm going to type that in. But I want to put in here arrays dot. And when we start to look through here, there's no reverse. See that? There's no reverse sort. Okay? In fact, there's nothing with reverse. Okay? Why am I telling you that? Like JavaScript actually has a reverse function. So you can call sort and then call reverse. All right? This, no, not really anything. Okay? So, who cares? Well, what we can do, and we could write this all as one routine, but I decided to write it as 2. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about in about 30 seconds. So I'm going to copy this sort ascending. Okay. And I don't know what I just did there. I'm going to copy the sort ascending, and I'm going to put it down below, but I'm going to call it sort descending. Okay. All right. So I've already got the ascending. I think you both agreed with that. So now I've got it here. Okay. But what I want to do is I want to flip the order. You understand what I'm saying? All right. And there's different ways that I could do this. Just so you know, there's different ways. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create. All I want to do is show it. Okay, that's all I really want to do. In fact, did I show that here? No. Okay, we'll see if this works or not. But I'm going to come here, and now I'm going to come in and say this. For int LCV equal num copy dot length minus 1 LCV. While it's greater than or equal to 0, now I want to subtract 1 from it. Do you understand what's going on there? You both do good. All right. So we got to throw it into something, right? We got to throw it into something. So what I'm going to do is I've got my array.sort. Oh, let's see. I'm just going to make something temporary here. And I'm going to call it string output. I'll just, like we did before, and I'll set it equal to the empty string. All right. So now I want to iterate or make my way through this for loop. So I'm going to say output str plus equals, not str, output plus equals, and it'll be numbers, num copy, LCV, and then just a blank space. You already saw that before. But I want to make sure you both understand what's going on right there. All right. And what I'll do is I'll just immediately, when I'm done, just print it out. So J option pane.show message dialog null output, just output. Right. Now what I could do, I'm looking at this, and I'm honestly, I'm just trying to figure out whether or not what I'm doing is correct. So it's going to call display array in descending order, and it's going to be passing num copy. Technically, I'm not changing num copy. Does that make sense to you? Does num copy, I'm asking you a question. Does num copy in this routine ever appear on the left-hand side of an equal sign? Does it? No. I don't see it. So what I'm going to do, just for variety, is where I've got this in here with this sort descending, I'm not going to call this display array. I'm going to call sort descending. I'm going to call display array, so get rid of this line. I'm going to call it from within my other method. Did you hear me? All right. So I am going to call sort descending here, but I'm going to end up calling it here. I don't want to print that. I don't want this here anymore. I'm going to get rid of this. Now, the problem we're going to have, it's all going to be correct except it's still in ascending order. Did you hear me? Right now, it's still in ascending order. So I don't want to put this into a string right here. All right. Wait a minute. This was display array. I don't want to put that there. I'm sorry. I want to put that into my sort descending right here. I don't want this line. I don't want this line. All right. Let me get back. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing this and keep writing and rewriting stuff as we're going on here. So this does not go here. So the array in blank order, that's all fine. That's all good. All right. Okay, I can already tell there's going to be issues with this when we get going. Don't worry about it. We will figure all of them out. But the sort ascending is just fine. The problem with the descending is it's going to take everything and put it into output. I'm not asking you that. I'm telling you that. It's going to do that. Well, output's a string. And when we pass a string in, it's expecting a numeric array. It's not, it'll break right there. So I'm going to change this. So instead of calling this string output like this, we'll still call it output. That's fine. But we'll make it an integer array. Int output equal new int. And, you know, before we use the number 25, because there's 25 elements, right? But we could just say max. Didn't we call it max? So we can do that. All right. Now output plus equals this. And why isn't it liking it? Oh, output of LCV equals num copy. What does not like? We'll figure out. Says required int provided string. Okay. This minus output int. It's required type int. It's num copy. Isn't that a numeric array? Num copy. It's a numeric array right there. These should actually both be max. It doesn't matter, okay? But I'm just saying for completeness, if we called something, we made a constant, we should be using the constant. All right. I'm trying to figure out in here why this one isn't working. I should have just typed in what I had, but stupid me, I'm rewriting the thing as we're going along because I'm trying to make it better, to be honest with you. All right, so create new array, display array, sort ascending, sort descending. Array.sort, num copy, int length LCV, output LCV, just an equal sign there. Now that should have fixed it. Let's see. There we go. That'll work. Now we can call display array, and we'll pass in the word descending. And I'm guessing in here with this one, this is going to do the sort, but I'm going to guess we're going to also have to call in here display array num copy ascending. Now you're both way too trusting. Let me run it and make sure I didn't bust anything. All right. So see right away if I have any errors. Okay, that's good. So 0 should kill the program. It does. 1 should give me new numbers. And it's not displaying them right now. We'll have to fix that. I guess I removed that line. 2 should display them in original order. Okay, we remove that line. So 3, it's not working. 4, okay, I think those are all working, but I think I got to put a line back in that I removed. Okay, so 0, all right. Let's take a look at everything we've done right from the top. Okay, all right. Added these 3 inputs. I don't think there's any question. I think you both get that. Okay, we're creating 2 arrays. This one will not be modified after create. This one can be modified after create. So in other words, this is just meant to be a copy of this one. The one that's in the original order, I don't want to manipulate. I want that always to be in its original order. So if somebody asks that, I can give that to them. All right. Smallest value I have, largest value, I probably should have added those, and I didn't. All right. Oh, we'll use those when we do our min and max in just a minute. Sum we'll use, average we'll use. Great. All right. Random number. Show the menu. Am I right in assuming there's no questions on the show the menu? Okay. So then we get down to here, and again, we put a try catch in there. I'm going to try to run that, and I'm going to put something that's not a number in there. It should not break the program now. It should call show menu again. Make sense? All right. So this is supposed to call the correct menu choice. A 0 should end the program, and it does. All right. Create new array. This should call display the array, passing it the original in the original order. This is giving me a new array. This is displaying the array in original order. So those should both be fine. This should display the array in ascending order. This should display the array in descending order. All right. And we're going to do smallest, largest, sum, and average in just a minute. So let's look at these. This will create the new array right here. All right. So when we call create new array, that's going to be this one, and then it should display it in original order. Does that make sense? All right. We'll look at it in a minute to see if it is or not. This is that display array. All right. So it should say, for example, this the array in original order. Boom. Now, this is just displaying it, so this should work fine, as it did before. All right. Then this is putting it in ascending order. Now, before you put in this line, I want to see, I don't want to make sure I'm not calling this twice. So this is display array with a copy in ascending order. Are we already calling that? Ascending. See, we are calling it already here. I can either call it in this one right after I do the sort ascending, or I can call it from the sort ascending itself. Does that make sense to you? I can either have this routine called display array, or I can call it from here. But if I call it in both places, it's going to display it twice, which isn't what I want. So I'm just going to, it doesn't matter which one. So I'm going to remove that one. All right, so I'm going to delete. Then I've got my descending. I'm creating a new array here. Why? Because I just want to copy everything in. All right. Now, the problem we're going to have here is to display that in descending order. It's not the num copy I want. It's going to be output that I want to display here. All right. And I do want to call that from here because this is local. Since I define that here, it's being set here. All right. Now, probably I've confused the heck out of you. Not on purpose, but I might have very well done it anyway. Let's take a look at what we've got. See if any of it works. 0. All right, that exits. Now, if I do a 1 here and I hit enter, nothing comes out, there's a problem. I'm just going to stop right there. It is. There's a problem. So I want to follow my logic. I don't want to go on and even test the other ones. So I'm just going to put in another 0. All right. So it wasn't working when I put in a 1, even though it worked before. So I removed something. So I put in a 1. It should have called create new array. And then it should have called display array and said the array in original order is. Does that make sense? So let's go look at both of these. Let's first look at the create new array. That should have created a brand new array. And num original should have 25 new numbers in it. And num copy should be lockstep. We should copy everything from the original to the copy. That makes sense? All right, then let's look at this. I can already see. What's the problem? I removed the J option pane statement from here. That's what the problem is. So, J option pane. And what I want to put in here, dot show message dialog, null, and output. That should fix everything. Should. I didn't say would. I said it should. All right. So let's run this and see if at least the first ones work. 0 gets me out. Good. 1 should give me the 25 new numbers and print them out. So there they are. Notice I have 100 in there. And let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Make sense? All right, so that works. Number 2, this should look exactly the same as it did just a second ago. And it seems to. All right. A 3 should give me the array in ascending order. That looks pretty good to me. All right. The 4, if it works, should give me the array in descending order. Does that make sense? And it doesn't. So something's wrong in there. And we'll fix it. But the point is, now 0 works, 1 works, 2 works, and 3 works. We got 4 of our 8 things now working correctly. All right. So we'll figure out what that one is. And I think I know already, I might know what it is, but we'll figure it out anyway. So when we came into here, I don't know what the, oh, I don't want that in 2. Jeez. There. When we came into here and we did this right there, we call it sort A ascending, and then we put in num copy, then sort descending and num copy. So that should be all okay. Let's look at the sort ascending and the sort descending. So the sort ascending is just array.sort. That's fine. Sort descending, this is going to create a brand new array. We do a sort on this one, and we're trying to copy everything in from this one to this one. Okay, that makes sense. And I'm trying to call display array output right there and pass that in. We're also calling display array here. See that? So I'm calling it twice. I don't want to do that. All right. So I'm going to run this again. I want to see if it works. I'm not going to test the 0. That should be fine. 1, there's my numbers. 2, they should be the exact same. 3, there they are in ascending order. 4, still something wrong. We'll fix it. All right. But I want that. It is saying the numbers in descending order. That's good. But it's just not printing what I want. All right. So let's fix that. We'll fix that and we'll take a break. All right. So for it equals, this should be the last one. Num copy.length minus 1. It's greater than 0. Subtract 1 from it. Oh, that's this. No, LCV, no. You know what? I'm going to very quickly, we're going to do some debugging. So system.out.println, and I'm going to put it down here. And I'm going to say num copy LCV equals, I already think I see what the problem is, but that's fine, equals num copy LCV plus \n output LCV equals plus output LCV. All right, hopefully this will work. I'm going to move this up so we can see all of it. and we'll put in a 1. There we got numbers, and there they are in ascending order. So let's check in descending order. Okay, it's the way, then it's got to be the way that I'm printing this. Display, show ascending, show descending. Okay. It's doing that correctly. Passing output in to display array. I think that's where my error is. All right, look at this. See this? I'm always doing the original right there. I should be doing this. This should be A, I think. Let's see. The array in whatever order, A dot length, that's not going to change it though. Plus equal A. Let's take a break. All right. I got to stop looking at it for 5 minutes, and you should too.